Hey Reddit, throwaway account here for obvious reasons. I honestly never thought I'd be one of those guys posting in this subreddit, but here I am. I, 35M, have been married to my wife Tina, 32F, for almost 8 years. We met in college, dated for a few years, and tied the knot young. She was smart, confident, and had this fiery personality that I found exciting at the time. Everyone said we looked like the perfect couple. I believed them. The first few years of our marriage were good. Not perfect, but stable. We both worked, had decent jobs, no kids yet, and had just moved into a house we were fixing up slowly. I handled most of the finances and heavy lifting. She took care of the design choices, and everything seemed to be moving forward. We had plans, we had dreams. But about 6 months ago, I started noticing small things as distant. Not in an obvious way, not cold exactly, just elsewhere. She started spending more time on her phone, laughing at texts she wouldn't share with me. When I asked who it was, she'd say something like, "Just Jen, you wouldn't get it," or "Why are you being weird?" She began dressing up more, even on days she was supposedly just working from home. And then there were the small lies. Saying she went to Target when the bank statement showed a charge from a bar downtown. Saying she had a girls' night, but coming home smelling like cologne. At first, I thought maybe I was being paranoid. Maybe I was overthinking. I didn't want to be that husband, the controlling, suspicious one. So I let it slide. I told myself she was stressed, that maybe we were in a rut and it was just a phase. I even suggested we plan a weekend getaway, just the two of us. She blew it off. Then one afternoon, about 4 months ago, our fuse box went haywire. She called an electrician while I was at work. I didn't think twice about it. I thanked her for handling it. She mentioned the guy was weird but efficient and joked about how he mansplained the entire process. I laughed along with her. Why wouldn't I believe her? Now looking back, that day might have been the start of it all. So, like I said in part one, Tina called the electrician to fix our fuse box while I was at work. I didn't think much of it at the time, but the more I look back, the more that moment keeps standing out in my memory, like a puzzle piece I didn't realize was missing until I saw the full picture. Fast forward a couple of weeks. I was cleaning out the junk drawer in the kitchen, the one where we toss random things, takeout menus, old batteries, keys that don't belong to anything anymore. That's when I found a crumpled up receipt from a local Italian restaurant. No big deal until I looked at the timestamp. It was from the same afternoon Tina said she stayed home to supervise the electrician. Two entrees, a bottle of wine, and a dessert around 2 p.m. during a workday. We never eat out on weekdays, especially not lunch. And Tina definitely didn't mention anything about going out. I stared at that receipt for a long time. My stomach dropped, but again, I didn't want to jump to conclusions. I figured maybe she met up with a friend, or maybe she just wanted a solo treat. She's spontaneous sometimes. I gave her the benefit of the doubt, but that little voice in my head wouldn't shut up. Something was off, and I couldn't shake it. So I did what I told myself I'd never do. I snooped. I went through her messages one night while she was in the shower. Most of her recent texts had been deleted. Odd, but there was one message in her deleted folder that didn't get fully erased. Rookie move. It was a short one. "Next time, I want more than dessert." No name, just the message. My heart sank. That night, I barely slept. I didn't say anything. I wasn't ready. I wanted to be sure. I started quietly observing her. She was extra cheerful the next few days. She even initiated sex, which honestly had become rare in the past year. Guilt sex, I realized later. Then came the kicker. A week later, she told me the electrician would be coming back to check the wiring, except everything had already been fixed. I asked her why, and she just shrugged. He offered to do a free follow-up, said it was part of the service. She was lying. I knew it in my bones. That's when I decided to take a half day off work without telling her. So as I said, I took a half day off work without telling Tina. I told my boss I wasn't feeling well and left around 11 a.m. I parked my car a few blocks away from our house so she wouldn't see it. I didn't have a real plan, just this tight knot in my stomach and a desperate need to know the truth. At 12:17 p.m., a van pulled up. White, no markings, just like before. A guy stepped out, mid-30s, buzz cut, tall, with a toolbox in one hand and a smug smile on his face like he owned the place. He wasn't wearing a uniform, just jeans and a t-shirt. My heart started pounding. I stayed low and watched from behind a neighbor's fence. He rang the doorbell. She answered. She was wearing makeup and a tight, low-cut top, not her usual Home Alone attire. She laughed at something he said, twirled her hair, then let him in. I waited 5 minutes, then 10, then 15. I walked up to the front door. I didn't knock. I didn't ring the bell. I just opened it. What I saw is seared into my memory. There, right in our living room, my wife was straddling him on the couch, topless. His belt was undone. Her shirt was on the floor. Music was playing in the background. They didn't even hear me come in. Wow, what the hell is this? I said, louder than I meant to. They both froze. She jumped up like she'd touched fire, grabbing her shirt and screaming, "It's not what it looks like!" The guy, the so-called electrician, just stood there, half-dressed, saying nothing. She started shouting, crying, screaming at me to just listen and let her explain. She called me paranoid, said I was invading her privacy, even accused me of stalking her. Let that sink in. I catch her cheating, and she plays the victim. I told the guy to get the hell out before I lost it. He muttered, "Sorry, man," and grabbed his stuff. She screamed at him now, saying he ruined everything. The drama was unbelievable. I told her I wanted her gone, that I was done. That's when the real hysterics began. And trust me, the worst was still to come. After the electrician bolted, Tina went full nuclear. She stood there, half-dressed, mascara smudged, screaming like I was the one who had betrayed her. No apology, no guilt, just rage and deflection. "You invaded my privacy. You had no right to come home like that. You're a controlling, insecure asshole." Yeah, apparently, walking into my own house and catching my wife in the middle of cheating made me the villain. I stayed calm. I didn't yell. I didn't slam doors. I just stood there and let her spin her insane web of lies. It was honestly kind of impressive in a twisted, pathetic way. She claimed it was the first time. Then she said she was just lonely. Then she said she thought I didn't love her anymore. Then she pivoted to, "You work too much. You're always tired. You stop trying." Every 5 minutes, her story changed, and then she dropped this gem. "It wasn't even an affair. We were just experimenting. It's nothing serious. I didn't even enjoy it." She said that with a straight face. I asked her point blank how long it had been going on. She said it started after the fuse box repair, but I already knew from the deleted messages and the lunch receipt that was a lie. I told her that. Then she broke down crying again and screamed, "So what? I made a mistake! One mistake!" Right, one mistake. Multiple times with the same guy in our house. She then had the audacity to say, "You're going to throw away our whole marriage over one stupid thing?" That line almost made me laugh. Throw away? She'd torched the whole damn thing and danced in the ashes. At that point, I told her I needed space. I left the house and stayed at my brother's place for the night. I turned my phone off. I couldn't take the messages, the missed calls, the fake apologies she was surely cooking up. But the next morning? Oh, the next morning held another surprise I did not see coming. I crashed at my brother Nate's place that night. I didn't say much, just that things had blown up between Tina and me. He didn't ask questions, just handed me a beer, threw a blanket on the couch, and said, "Handle it how you need to, man." The next morning, I woke up to a bunch of missed calls from Tina. Voicemails, texts, more lies. "Please come home." I didn't mean it. It was a stupid mistake. You're overreacting. Then the classic, "If you loved me, you'd at least talk to me." But I ignored all of it. I wasn't ready to talk. I needed clarity first, not manipulation. Around noon, there was a knock on Nate's door. I opened it, expecting Amazon or maybe one of his neighbors. Nope, it was her electrician. Real name? Brian. No van, no toolbox this time. Just him standing there looking uncomfortable, rubbing the back of his neck. I I didn't know where else to go, he said. "I figured you'd want the truth. Tina's not going to tell you." That caught me off guard. I didn't even know this guy. I should have slammed the door, but something about how rattled he looked stopped me. I stepped outside. He lit a cigarette and sighed. "Look, man, I didn't know she was married at first. She told me she was separated. Said you were living in another state." I didn't say a word, just stared. He kept going. We hooked up a couple of times before she even called me to do the fuse box. She made up the repair job just so we could spend time at her place. That hit me like a brick. It had all been a setup from the beginning. She said you never touched her anymore, that you were cold. that she deserved better. Then he said almost apologetically, I wouldn't have gotten involved if I'd known she was lying. But once I found out, I'll be honest, I didn't care anymore. She's intense. I asked him straight up, is it still going on? He hesitated. No, not anymore. She got weird. Started saying stuff like she wanted to leave you, wanted me to move in, talking about kids. It got heavy fast. I told her I wasn't looking for that. She flipped, threatened to tell you I forced myself on her. What the actual hell? I clenched my jaw so hard I thought I'd crack a tooth. He looked at me and said, I'm sorry, man. I really am. I thought you should know the whole truth before she spins it into something worse. He left after that, and I just stood there, stunned, with my hands shaking and my head spinning. The lies, the manipulation, the gaslighting, the affair. It was worse than I thought, and Tina was already blowing up my phone again. That's when I knew I couldn't go back. Not after this. After Brian left, I sat in silence for a while, just letting the weight of it all settle in. Everything made sense now. The sudden repairs, the lingerie I found in the laundry I hadn't seen her wear in months, her weird mood swings, her constant accusations that I was hiding something. Classic projection. I wasn't angry anymore, just done. I felt like I'd been emotionally bled dry. You know that point where it doesn't hurt as much as it should because you've already mourned it without realizing? That's where I was. So I went home. She must have been waiting at the window because the moment I pulled into the driveway, the door flew open. She came running out barefoot, crocodile tears already streaming, like she was starring in some cheap soap opera. Baby, please, just talk to me. I swear I'll fix it. It didn't mean anything. I didn't even go inside. I stood on the porch and looked her dead in the eyes. I'm filing for divorce. She went silent for half a second. Then the bomb exploded. What? Are you kidding me? You're going to throw away 12 years over one stupid fling? She went full hysterical, screaming, pulling her hair, slapping herself like she was the victim of something tragic. Then came the bargaining. We can go to therapy. You can cheat on me once to even it out. I won't even be mad. Just don't do this. What the hell? I told her I already knew about the other lies, that Brian came to me and spilled everything. That was when her entire face changed. The crocodile tears stopped. Her jaw clenched, and then she snapped. Oh, of course he told you that. You believe him over me, the guy who only wanted sex? You're seriously this weak? And there it was. The real Tina. No mask, no act, just pure venom. I turned and walked away. She followed me halfway to my car, screaming about how she was going to take everything, how she regretted marrying a spineless coward, how I was throwing away a woman 10 other guys would die to have. I got in the car, locked the door, drove off while she was still shrieking on the lawn. By the time I got back to Nate's, I had 3 missed calls and 1 voicemail where she suddenly switched back to crying and begging. Too little, too late. The next few days were weird, peaceful in a way, but eerie, like the calm right before a hurricane hits. I officially filed for divorce. My lawyer was a friend of Nate's, someone I trusted to handle everything without drama. I didn't want revenge. I just wanted out. But Tina, she wasn't done, not even close. The first sign that she was spiraling came 2 days later. I got a flower delivery at Nate's place. Big, obnoxious bouquet, blood red roses. A note attached that said, let's start fresh. You and me, no more lies. Signed, your wife. I laughed, out loud. Then I threw the flowers in the trash. That night, she showed up at Nate's front door. No warning, just rang the bell like nothing had happened. His wife opened the door and immediately slammed it in her face. Respect. Then Tina started texting both of us nonstop. Can we talk? Just for 5 mins? I miss you. Please, don't do this. This isn't you. You're not cruel. I'll do anything. I ignored every message, so she turned up the heat. The next day, she posted this long, sappy post on Facebook with our wedding photo, tagging me saying how everyone goes through hard times and how true love always finds its way back. Her friends and family started messaging me. What's going on? She says you won't even speak to her. Don't throw away something this deep over a mistake. Oh, and guess what? She had told them that I had emotionally abandoned her, and that's why she got confused. Classic Tina, burning down the house and playing victim in the ashes. And then because apparently she wasn't done trying to manipulate me. She sent me a picture of a positive pregnancy test. No caption, just the photo. I stared at it for a long time. No way. Just no way. I didn't even respond, but I did send that picture straight to my lawyer. And that kicked off a whole new level of crazy. So yeah, that picture, the positive pregnancy test. At first, I stared at it thinking, no, absolutely not. I hadn't touched Tina in weeks before everything blew up. Not emotionally, not physically. We'd had sex once in the last couple of months, and that was almost 10 weeks ago. Even that had felt mechanical. I didn't respond to her text. I didn't even type the usual, "Are you serious?" because deep down, I already knew what this was. Another lie, another attempt to trap me. Still, I couldn't risk it. I forwarded the picture to my lawyer with the message, "She's claiming this. We need to protect against any custody or support moves if it's fake." His reply came fast. "Got it. We'll request proof and set up a demand for a paternity test if necessary." Tina must have realized I wasn't buying her act, because that night she left me a voicemail that sounded straight out of a bad soap opera. She was sobbing, I mean, ugly crying, snot and all. "You're the father. I swear it. I know I messed up, but this baby, it's yours. Don't punish our child because you hate me." Nice script. I still didn't reply. The next day, I received a message from Brian. Yup, the electrician again. This guy, for all his sleazy involvement, seemed to have developed a conscience. His message? "Heads up, she told me she's pregnant too. She said it might be mine. I don't know what she's playing at." I was fuming. So not only was she trying to manipulate me, she was telling the other guy the same story, like she was playing some weird reality show game where the loser pays child support. I decided to confront her, but legally, through my attorney. We sent a formal request through her lawyer. If she wished to pursue any financial claims or make any statement regarding pregnancy, she would be required to submit medical proof and submit to a paternity test immediately after birth. And just like that, silence. No more voicemails, no more texts, no more flowers, no Facebook drama. It was like she vanished. And that was the scariest part, because I knew it wasn't over. Tina was the kind of woman who didn't disappear unless she was reloading. I didn't have to wait long. So after we hit her with the legal demand for proof of the pregnancy, radio silence, no texts, no calls, no drama for a full 3 days. And I knew that quiet wasn't peace. On the fourth day, all hell broke loose. I woke up to 15 notifications on my phone, messages, missed calls, DMs, Facebook tags. Apparently, Tina had decided to go public. She posted a long, unhinged rant on her Facebook page, which, by the way, she never set to private. It started like this: "Some people pretend to be the perfect husband, but behind closed doors, they're cold, manipulative, emotionally abusive monsters. I made one mistake, and now he's trying to destroy my life, control my body, and deny our child." Oh, yeah, she dropped the abuse bomb. Comments came pouring in from people who didn't know the real story. "OMG, stay strong, queen. Men never take accountability. You don't deserve this. He's trash for abandoning his pregnant wife." I was furious and embarrassed. I had coworkers texting me asking if I was okay. My mom even called because someone she knew saw it and passed it along. Tina didn't just stop at the Facebook post, though. She DM'd my boss. Yes, you read that right. She told him she was concerned for my mental health, that I had been spiraling and might need time off. She framed it like she was being a supportive wife. He called me into his office and said, "I don't want to get involved, man, but your wife's clearly not well." I had to explain everything. Thankfully, he believed me. He's seen his fair share of messy divorces, but the damage was done. She was trying to destroy my reputation before the court date even happened. I sent everything, screenshots, messages, the Facebook post, to my lawyer. He advised we begin documenting everything for defamation in case we needed to countersue or at least push for a clean break in court. But here's the kicker. Two of Tina's closest friends, the same ones who were commenting, "You deserve better," reached out to me privately. One of them said, "I'm really sorry. I believed her at first, but now she's acting unstable. She told us she wasn't sure if she's even pregnant. She said it might be a tactic." Her words. "You deserve to know." I wasn't surprised. Disgusted? Yes. Surprised? Not anymore. Tina was unraveling, and it was only a matter of time before she crossed another line. And oh, she did. I honestly thought the worst was behind me. I had ignored the fake pregnancy. I had survived the public smear campaign. I had given my lawyer everything he needed to push the divorce through cleanly. Then Tina took it to a whole new level. It was a Wednesday afternoon. I was at work, mid-meeting, when my coworker Kim poked her head in with that something's wrong look. Hey, sorry to interrupt. There's a woman in reception asking for you. She's crying. My stomach dropped. I already knew who it was. I walked out into the reception area, and yep, there she was. Tina. Messy hair, no makeup, clearly hadn't slept, wearing my hoodie, the one she always stole from my closet, curled up in a chair and crying like the whole world had ended. The receptionist looked mortified. People were staring. She saw me and stood up immediately. Please, I just need 5 minutes. Please, just hear me out. I was so done, but I also didn't want to cause a scene at my job, so I walked side to the parking lot. She tried to hug me. I stepped back. Don't touch me, Tina. You showing up here? That's harassment. She started sobbing again, but louder. The kind of crying that's meant to get attention. A few people from the office were watching from the windows. I messed up. I know that, but you don't understand how lonely I was. You just stopped caring. You stopped loving me. I made a mistake, but I love you. I told her to go home, that we would speak only through lawyers from now on, that if she came to my job again, I'd file a restraining order. And that's when she went from sobbing to rage mode, just like that. You're a fucking coward. You don't even fight for me. You think you're better than me now? You're nothing without me. You'll come crawling back. I didn't say another word. I walked away, back inside, told the receptionist if she ever shows up again, call security. My boss pulled me into his office later. He was understanding, but clearly worried. Get this under control, whatever it takes. So now, on top of everything else, I had to worry about Tina showing up anywhere, anytime, pulling more stunts. My lawyer filed a formal cease and desist letter the next morning, but by then, it was too late. Tina's final play was already in motion. So after Tina's meltdown at my job, I thought maybe the cease and desist would finally scare her into backing off. Nope, she just shifted from emotional warfare to dirty tactics. Exactly 1 week later, I got a knock at the door of my brother's place, where I was still crashing. It was the police. 2 officers. Professional, calm. Are you my full name? Yes. What's going on? We received a report of domestic harassment. We're going to need to ask you a few questions. My heart sank. I stepped outside with them while Nate watched, stunned. They explained Tina had filed a report claiming I'd threatened her life over the phone and had been stalking her movements through her social media. She said she feared for her safety and that I'd been emotionally unstable since the separation. I was floored. I told them I hadn't contacted her once outside of my lawyer since the confrontation in the parking lot. I even showed them the cease and desist letter my lawyer sent her and the records of 0 replies or communication from me. They took notes, asked more questions. Then one of them said something that told me everything I needed to know. You're not the first person she's filed a report like this against. Excuse me? Turns out, Tina had done something similar in college, got dumped, filed a harassment claim against her ex that later turned out to be false. Charges dropped, reputation ruined. This was a pattern. They left after about 30 minutes and told me no further action would be taken at this time. But they did suggest I consider filing for a protective order, just in case. I called my lawyer immediately. He wasn't surprised. He'd seen it before. She's trying to build a paper trail in case she loses everything in court. It's about control or leverage. We filed for an emergency protective order the next day, and that finally forced Tina to back off, legally, but not before one last act of twisted revenge. The court date for our divorce hearing was set 3 weeks after the protective order was granted. In that time, Tina went dead silent. No social media activity, no texts, no flying monkeys from her side of the family, no baby updates. Just complete blackout. It was unsettling, honestly, like she was waiting. On the morning of the hearing, I wore a simple suit, clean shaven, calm. My lawyer had prepped everything, documented every lie, every manipulation, every meltdown. We had receipts. Literally, showed up 30 minutes late wearing a white blouse like she was attending a christening, her hair down, no makeup, and holding her stomach like she was 9 weeks pregnant, which timeline wise didn't even check out. She was playing the sympathetic martyr. Again, as we sat down, her lawyer requested a private conference with mine and the judge. I watched them talk at the bench, low voices. The judge frowned. My lawyer glanced at me and subtly shook his head. When they returned, the judge looked annoyed. Then he said something I'll never forget. Miss Tina's last name, unless you can produce medical documentation confirming your pregnancy and the paternity claim you're making, it will not be considered in these proceedings. You have until the end of the day to file a supplemental form with evidence. Otherwise, it is off the table. She nodded, meekly. But she had nothing, because there was no pregnancy. It was one final, desperate bluff, and it failed. From there, it went fast. The judge read through the evidence. He saw the false police report, the Facebook defamation, the job confrontation, and the harassment. Her emotional distress claims fell apart instantly. She tried to interject a few times, crying, sniffling, saying, "I still love him. This doesn't have to end like this." The judge cut her off. "Ma'am, this isn't a movie. This is a legal process. You made choices. Now you live with them." Boom. We finalized everything that day. I kept the house. Thankfully, it was in my name before marriage, my car, and all of my accounts. No spousal support, no asset split, no child, just freedom. Her lawyer looked like he wanted to melt into the floor. I actually felt a little bad for him. After the gavel came down, Tina rushed toward me in the hallway, tears in her eyes, trembling, voice barely a whisper. "Please, don't forget me." I looked her in the eyes and said, "Already have," and I walked out. Walking out of that courthouse felt like stepping out of a burning building, coughing, scarred, but alive. I didn't feel triumphant. I didn't feel victorious. I felt free and weirdly empty. 12 years with someone, gone in a matter of hours. I moved back into the house that week, the one we bought together. She had taken most of her stuff, but she left a few things behind. A hoodie, some pictures, a mug she used every morning. I tossed them all in a box and left it outside. She never came for it. For a while, the silence in the house was deafening. No slamming doors, no gaslighting, no accusations, no fake apologies, just peace. I reconnected with old friends, the ones she pushed away because they didn't support our marriage. I started working out again. I got promoted at work, mostly because I wasn't constantly distracted by drama anymore. Nate and his wife invited me over constantly. They became my anchor during the chaos. Therapy helped too. I'll say that loudly. Therapy was a game changer. I didn't go because I was broken. I went because I didn't want to become cold. I didn't want to let her damage carry into the next chapter of my life. People often think the worst part of cheating is the sex. It's not. It's the lies, the mental chess game, the betrayal of trust so deep it rewires your brain. Tina had made me question my own instincts, my own memories, my sanity. But now I trust myself again. I know who I am, and I know what I'm worth. A few weeks after the divorce, I ran into Brian, the electrician, again. Total coincidence. He apologized again, said Tina had been trying to contact him too until he blocked her. "You did the right thing, man," he told me. "She's a storm, and you made it out." If damn right, I did. And while I'm not in a relationship yet, I'm not rushing. I'm taking time, getting right with myself. It had been just over 3 months since the divorce was finalized. Life was good, peaceful, productive. I wasn't looking over my shoulder anymore. I wasn't waking up to 3 a.m. rage texts or dramatic voicemails. For the first time in years, I was sleeping like a human again. And then, one evening, while watching a movie, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, one message. "I'm sorry, I hope you're doing okay. I'm getting help now. T." I just stared at it. No drama. No manipulation. Just that. For a moment, I actually felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not pity. Just indifference. The version of me from a year ago would have spiraled, would have wondered if she was sincere, would have drafted a response, maybe even met up just to talk. But this me didn't respond. This me deleted the message and then blocked the number because closure doesn't come from a message or an apology. It comes from acceptance, from reclaiming your life and refusing to live in the wreckage someone else caused. I told my therapist about the message the next day. She just smiled and said, "That's how you know you've healed, when it doesn't move you anymore." She was right. Tina would always be a chapter in my life, but not the whole story, and definitely not the ending. But that wasn't quite the last surprise. It's been almost a year since it all came crashing down. Sometimes I sit in the backyard, the same one Tina once said was too small for real memories, and just listen to the wind. And I feel peace. The kind you don't notice when your life is full of noise and manipulation and chaos. This story started with suspicion, turned into heartbreak, then became war. And now it's just a closed book. But if you've read this far, if you're going through something similar, let me tell you this. One, trust your gut. If something feels off, it probably is. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're aware. And awareness is the first step toward freedom. Two, documentation saves you. Keep receipts, screenshots, notes, because if it ever gets legal, facts win. Emotions don't. Three, cheating isn't just about sex. It's about disrespect, dishonesty, and deliberate betrayal. It's about someone valuing their selfish urges over your trust and your life together. Four, you can't fix someone who benefits from breaking you. Tina didn't want help. She wanted control. Don't get stuck trying to save someone who's actively drowning you. Five, healing doesn't look like a movie. There were days I felt pathetic, weak, lost. There were days I thought maybe she was right, that it was somehow my fault. But healing is messy, and it's worth it. Because one day you'll wake up and realize she doesn't own your heart anymore. And finally, six, you are not alone. I know Reddit can be toxic sometimes, but this place gave me a voice when I felt voiceless. So to anyone reading this who's caught in their own storm, stay strong, get support, don't settle, and walk away before you're nothing but pieces. I'm rebuilding, stronger, smarter, free, and I wouldn't take her back for all the money in the world.